Well, it's Brian Clark here joining us on the Firebirds Extra pregame show. The Kent State left-hander now jumping on with myself, Kevin Fitzgerald. And Brian, first time we've had you on the show so far, and you've been off to a great start this Cape League season. You're starting to mow the batters down over the last handful of innings. But just before we get to that, what's it been like to transition up here to the Cape, getting to play with some of the best hitters and play with some of the best pitchers as well? What's the experience been like so far halfway through the year?
I mean, it's hard to describe. It's definitely an intense environment, and it's a lot different than what I expected. I had a few guys from this past Kent State team that played in the Cape, and they kind of told me what it was all about and what to expect. So they were pretty much on point with what they told me. So.
Well, one guy that was here last year in Orleans was Derek Toadvine, who was up here as well. He had a solid season last year, so I'm sure he was one of those guys that were giving you some info about coming up here this summer. But, Brian, you've gotten off to a really good start. The last 7 appearances, you haven't even given up a run, and you're starting to strike batters out like crazy. What is your number one strikeout pitch when you're on the mound?
It's definitely my slider. Yeah, it's my go-to. I pretty much can throw it for a strike whenever I want to, so I'm pretty confident in it.
And you also have that fastball that you can rear back and throw whenever you really feel like it and blow that by some batters. As it's Brian Clark here, jump on the Firebirds Extra pregame show. First pitch is coming up at 7 o'clock right here at Eldridge Park. You're a Kent State guy. You grew up in Ohio. Kent State was the school that was right near you. You always wanted to go there. Kind of touch on the College World Series run last season. What was that experience like, making it to Omaha, getting to play against some of the top competition? What's the one memory that you can put your finger on from last year's College World Series run?
I think the biggest thing for me was when we won the third game of the Super Regional that got us to Omaha. I came in the 8th and I gave up 2 runs to tie the game. Went back in the 9th and sat the side down. And then we came back in the bottom of the 9th and scored a run. And I'm still getting chills now thinking about it was actually Derek Toadvine who crossed the plate to send us to Omaha. So
go ahead.
It was just indescribable feeling.
And correct me if I'm wrong, that was against Oregon that you guys did that against, and it was Derek Toadvine who scored that winning run.
Yeah.
Again, it must have been a sensational feeling, like you said, to make it to the College World Series, get to play in Omaha. As it's Brian Clark here on the pregame show joining us. We're just going back to your Cape League season for a second. You just mentioned before that you kind of expected what it would be like. You didn't think it would be this maybe competition-driven up here. When you're working with pitchers from all over the country, what is the one thing that you guys, when you're throwing bullpens together, when you're together out in the pen and just spending time with one another, how much do you take away other elements from other pitchers' games or kind of share some of your details about how you guys prepare for games? How much is there give and take there?
There's a ton of stuff. You know, guys are always talking about what they do back at their school, and different guys who have like a better changeup or a better slider or better two-seam than other guys get asked how they hold it and different grips and stuff like that. So it's a good little mix out there, and it's fun to hang out in the bullpen during the game, and we talk a lot. So. And
the slider is that pitch, like you said, that you like to go to. What is the one thing you want to work on about your game while you're up here for just about another month before the season, before you have to head back to Kent State in August and September?
I'm going to concentrate more on throwing strikes, first pitch strikes, getting ahead early, and then I'm trying to develop a changeup and polish that pitch so I can have like a 3 or 4 pitch repertoire that I can throw at hitters.
So far, it's been pretty solid early on, your Cape League season. This is Brian Clark again here joining us on the Firebirds Extra pregame show. And you mentioned before you guys like to have a lot of fun out in the bullpen. I got to mention, the bullpen seems to have moved over the last couple of days or so. You guys are not out past right field, but you're in the bandstand, which is still a few feet to the left of the original bullpen. Now, you play the drums, or you say you like to play the drums. That's the bandstand. You guys can get like a band going or something out in the bullpen?
I don't know if we'll go that far, but, I mean, certain guys have brought out the beatbox noises and different stuff like that, so it gets interesting out there. It's fun.
The new position for the bullpen, who led the charge? Is it a better view up from the bandstand out past right center?
You know, I think it was actually Coach Brownie that suggested us to move the picnic tables over a little bit, but it works out better because we can put the chairs up there. And otherwise, we'd sit on picnic tables and look directly into the fence. Now we can see over it and see the whole game. So
from the concert stage, it's a better view. Like you guys said, you could take a look at anything. It's Brian Clark here joining us on the Firebirds Extra pregame show. First pitch is coming up at 7 o'clock between the Chatham A's and the Orleans Firebirds. The Kent State left-hander. Hey, Brian, thanks again for stopping by. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.